Hello, and thank you for joining us along a monumental journey for this podcast, as we have officially moved this podcast live in studio. This is episode 39 of the podcast that is full of laughter and shenanigans and talks everything A7FL Nevada. This is the self-proclaimed second... Wait, no, fuck that! This is the best and most athletic podcast of the A7FL. I am the host of this show, KC Cox. Alongside me, as always, my co-host, or at least two of them for the time being. It is Mr. AA Anthony Alvarez.
Boy, you got some fire under you, don't you, buddy?
Oh, yes, I do today. It's all fire. And again, it's the division manager, Chris Veira. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man, for having to fly in from San Diego today.
Did you at least get to go to the beach?
Hell no.
Damn.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Come on, it was all work.
It was a business trip.
Yeah, I got off the plane, went to work, came back, got on the plane, came home.
That's not fun at all.
Yeah,
And
San
of course, gentlemen,
nice.
As we start this show out, we are starting a little bit late, but we do have a guest in studio with us here this evening. It is from Sick With It, Andrew Lalamanu.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me here.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Man had a solid game on Sunday, didn't he?
Oh, he did he not?
Well, I had an all right.
Well, he set the tone with that first possession fumble on the Aces' first possession, which led to a touchdown.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody's going to forget about that. And it is a pleasure to have you on with us tonight, Andrew. And while we have you here, we do want to kind of use this time to dig into that Sick With It game that we got to call. And how it went. First off, I kind of want to ask you, going into that game, what was the mindset of the team?
I think overall there was a little bit of frustration from our showing against the Force. Give it to the Force though; they came out, they hit us early, they punched us in the face, and we had to fight through some things to come back in that. But we know that we weren't playing at our best. We weren't competing at the level that we thought we should be competing at. So going into the Aces, it was more so just trying to prove to ourselves that we are who we think we are.
Okay, absolutely. And Dub, do you have anything that you want to ask Andrew while we have him here and dig into that game a little bit?
I know you don't necessarily play the offensive side of the ball, but one thing I've noticed the last 2 weeks is wrinkles in the run game. Against the Force, utilize Shep in the run game. He scored twice. Then Sunday, he used more in the game. He scored twice. Is there some new wrinkles you guys are trying to put in offensively?
I would say we're always trying to work in our personnel and see who fits with who, because everything is, like Rob says, everything styles make the fight. So we have to work certain people with certain people, see how things blend, see how people work together. We're always trying to. I would say it isn't necessarily something new, just new to everybody else.
So more of digging into your playbook a little more than it was trying to create more wrinkles or introduce new wrinkles.
Wait, say that again?
So it was more digging deeper into your playbook than it was just adding wrinkles?
I think more so what we're just trying to play disciplined football. We're running through our progressions. We're getting better at reading our keys, whether it be on the offensive line or the defensive line. Our main focus is getting better internally and just trying to put the best product out every Sunday.
Interesting. So, ask you a tough question. Why do you think you guys have had 2 games now with what I would consider, especially for Sick With It, kind of slow starts?
I think that goes into personnel. You've seen it. We've been bouncing around people, whether it be on the defensive line or at the running back position. We're just trying to see what gels, trying to work on our, I don't know how to say it.
Chemistry?
Yeah, chemistry, because our rotations, they have to work in the middle of the game, at the end of the game. We have to know who can go in for who. We can't go into a game like coming up with the Insomniacs. We can't go into that game not ready or not prepared to rotate, not prepared for the next man to be up, whether it be at the running back position, wide receiver position, because it's a tough game. You know what I mean? At any moment, someone can go down. And we have to all be ready to do the job.
Well, the reason why I asked that question is because, and don't take this as a knock, it's not. It is just a observation. When you have a team like yours that is really balling out in the second half, or actually the second quarter is where I would start with you guys. You're really balling out in the second quarter. However, that first quarter is like almost like you're sleepwalking.
At least those last two games.
Yeah,
have definitely
the last
seen
two
that way.
games we've seen it, and I like the term that you use. You know that Force came out and had to kind of slap you in the mouth. But what I know sick is more the opposite of that. You go out and slap the other team in the mouth. So I'm kind of curious as to why you think that this situation is going the way it is.
I don't think there's a specific reason. You know, we're going to get back to that. We're going to get back to that. I mean, the first 2 weeks, we went up 14-0, and we lost. Oh, we lost the first game, you know what I mean, going up 14-0. So it really don't. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. So, like, now we're tightening up the back end of our game and playing through 4 quarters, and we'll get back to coming out fast. We'll get back to punching people in the mouth.
No, just and you know, I like what you said there with bringing that back up and saying it's how you finish, and I like that. But I'm just looking at this realistically and saying, okay, some of these teams that will be playing in the playoffs have some decent offenses. And the last thing you guys got down by 14 against the Insomniacs the first time you played them. They were up 14.
They were
My
up 14.
bad. You're right. They were up 14. But my fear is I don't want to see you guys get down to any of the teams from back east. I want to see, look, I ain't going to lie. I want to see an ass whooping, but, you know, we all know how that goes. I mean, it's Vegas versus everyone.
Yeah, but wanting to see hi. My bad.
Thank you for joining us now, Scott McCorkle.
The Viking has arrived.
Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the shit real quick, but I don't think there's going to be any more ass whoopings, really. I mean, once Ohio's out,
Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think really it's going to be grinding from that. Like, everybody else is stacked. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of who makes it out of the East, that's rough.
Everybody else that's left out once Ohio gets knocked out, which we assume they're going to, because
anything happens any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday, absolutely. But saying that they do get knocked out, these last teams that will be left are all teams that were built, it feels like, for this, to win this national title.
Well, they just kind of been like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's all
out east, absolutely. But the two that are left out here, even now, then, like, these two teams were built for this.
Well, here's the thing. And after week 1, I said, let's run it back. Let's see it again. And I've been saying all, season long that it just feels like they were going to meet again.
Oh,
like,
this is the dream match.
In order for them to get to the Western Conference title, it has to come down to these two teams. And here we go. It's Ollie. It's Frazier. It's 15 rounds. Let's get it on.
It's Ollie Frazier, too.
Indeed.
Rumble in the jungle.
Yeah.
The Thrilla in Manila.
So my only thing with that is we're also talking about two completely different teams than what we saw on day one.
Oh, absolutely.
Both teams,
they've both grown
both
so
teams have
much.
trended upwards since that week 1 classic.
Oh.
No question about that.
No doubt. So that's why I think this game is going to be so much better than that first game. And I think realistically, if I was to kind of take a look at this and take a step back and look at the game and where these two teams are now, I would say that, it's going to be another close game.
I agree.
Oh, I would absolutely agree with that. I wouldn't have it any other way. Honestly, I want this to be a punch for punch, blow for blow.
Like I said, 15 rounds.
And here we go. I mean, that is the game that's coming up in a few weeks. We have Drew here. Let's kind of see what
Drew, have you guys hi Drew. My bad. What up? How you doing? But have you guys talked about this yet? I know I'm a little bit late, but do you guys have a specific game plan? Are you guys changing anything?
We have not dug into that game coming up yet.
Jump into
let's
it.
do it. Yeah.
So, do you have anything in particular that you guys feel you need to work on? Are you guys addressing anything? Are you changing anything? Or are you going to go ahead and just try to make them adjust to your game plan?
Everybody tells us what we are. You know what I mean? The East tells us the sick with it. They don't like to hit. They're not physical enough. They're not strong enough in the trenches. We hear everything. I think we know what we need to work on. We are definitely we're always working. You know, we our biggest focus. I said this earlier, is just going through our progressions, playing disciplined football, reading, making the right keys. So it's not that we just gonna go, or we're just going into this game unprepared, but everybody knows what we need to work on.
So,
Right, but I guess my question was, are you fine-tuning what you guys have been working on this whole time, or do you guys have some special thing set up that you think you need to set up just to beat the Insomniacs?
No, we're gonna go play our football.
Heard. Yeah.
We're gonna go play our football. We're gonna try to push the pace and make them play with us.
So let me ask this question, and I guess you could say it's the elephant in the room, for lack of a better term. The injury to Lavish, and by the way, prayers up to Lavish.
Yes, prayers.
Praying for a speedy recovery. Not having him, more than likely not having him for this game. How does that change the offense dynamic? Because he's such a talented special player. Does it change anything offensively, or is it just the next man up mentality?
Next man up mentality. You know, shout out to Lav. He brings more to the team than he does on the field. Like behind the scenes, he's definitely a leader and has stepped into that leadership role, and he still is. You know, he's still talking to us, still trying to stay positive. We're all standing behind him through this injury. But next man up, you know, the next man's going to step up. We have so many athletes on this team that can get the job done. So whoever it is, whenever it is, you see how we rotate. You know, it doesn't change. Nothing changes.
Yeah, I'm going to giggle a little bit because I like that the politician side of that answer.
Right.
When you were asked about specifics. That is a great answer, and the one time I will let you slide because I don't think you should reveal anything.
Well,
Right,
I mean, fishing for answers this early, like when they have so long to prepare, is kind of pointless anyway. Because I wouldn't give if I have a key on you, I'm not giving it to you now.
No,
You know what I
absolutely
mean?
not.
Like,
Maybe
I would
after the
never-
game.
After the game, absolutely. We could sit down and discuss when I found your weakness, how I found it, what your tendencies are on this down or this down. Like, if you're not paying attention to this football like this, you're not going to win.
Not
You
at
can't
all.
just show up on Sunday and expect to do this.
No.
There's no way.
I think we know the answer to this is going to be yes, and I think there's not going to be any other way you're going to want to answer this question than a yes or no. But Drew, are there things that you guys have seen in the Insomniacs that you feel like you can exploit as a weakness?
Good question.
Definitely. You know, every team has weaknesses. Nobody is bulletproof. You know, you try to watch specific players where you can win the matchups, because that's what it's going to come down to: personnel and matchups. Right? Can we match up, put the right personnel out there? And sometimes that might not involve me. Right? Sometimes there's another DN that can do something better than I can do, and it's his call. Like, he's up. So it's about the matchups where we can exploit them, because they're definitely there.
See, that's something I've noticed about Sickwood is they are, and much like the Insomniacs even, they are one of those teams that it seems like everybody on that team is that next man up mentality. It's not a who can do what better than who. No, this is my time to shine. It's not about that. It's about what's best for the team and putting what's best for the team out on that field. And that seems the mentality of both of these teams.
It kind of seems to me that might be a product of Mark Gray.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
actually being a coach and
Absolutely.
having like a defensive scheme. So like if you have a scheme to fall back on, like we're gonna run, like we have a run stop defense, we have a pass stop defense, we have these certain personnel.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
for
Coaching
these
plays big into it.
And sometimes it's not just like a personnel matchup, because sometimes you just need to stop the run. And it doesn't matter who it is. So you have that rotation going. And without a good coach that has control of the team, like not in like a you do what I tell you type of way, but like in a respectful, like I'll do what you ask me, like on any given down type stuff, then that's when you can start implementing that. I think the two teams we have left kind of have that same thing. But honestly, like, I don't know how far neither one of these teams are giving us. They're all giving us the political answers and dancing around it. I can't wait till the interviews after the season so we can actually get some answers on this.
But I think the one thing we can take away from both teams, and something that I've looked at from both teams, is attention to detail. And both teams have that attention to detail when it comes to schematics, when it comes to implementing personnel, when it comes to calling the right play and executing the right play. Attention to detail is really going to play huge in this game when these two get it on again in 2 weeks.
I don't know how they do on the East Coast, but I'm pretty sure these coaches that are left and these players that are left can definitely tell you what tendencies are on, for whatever team they're coming up against. They know tendencies. If you bring certain personnel on certain downs, or if you have one weakness on a certain line or whatever, they're going to know it, and you have to be able to adjust fast. This is going to be a game of adjustments.
Well, I think too,
and it's going to be so fun. It's a violent game of chess we're going to get to see.
It's
Sunday.
the ultimate chess match.
Yeah.
Not this Sunday, but next.
We asked you what their weaknesses are. What's their strengths?
Yeah, that's a
You
good
asking
question.
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are their
their strengths?
From the
You know what I
opponent's
mean?
standpoint.
They're a tough team. I think sometimes out here in Vegas, some people don't want to give people credit where credit is due. So you never can really prepare for someone if you're not all the way ready for everything that they are. And the Insomniacs are a good team. They run the ball hard and they're big bodies. And we know it's going to be a physical game. Like someone like RTC, I respectfully, I think RTC is a great bet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is.
I think going into every time we go to play him, whether it was in the fall brawl or here, it's like, oh shit, today's going to be a long day. You kind of have those guys on that team that you have to be mentally and physically prepared to go into that fight, or you'll lose it every time.
I was going to say, I don't think there's a game, winter, fall, spring, whatever, that anybody plays RTC and wasn't aware that RTC was there.
Considering that he goes looking for contact when he runs
Yes,
the ball.
absolutely.
I don't
Not
think
every
he's had
time.
an off game.
No.
Not every time.
I don't remember one.
No.
An off game?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember an off game. I just remember times when I don't always think that he looks for contact, but I think that when you bring contact, he's going to make sure that you feel what you are wanting to go after.
But here's
as
the
a
thing,
reminder.
though, I don't want to get hung up on him trying to necessarily run everybody over, because he's not going to look for contact every play. He's a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I
people
said.
expect. Yeah, no, that's exactly what you're saying. So people get hung up on that. Sometimes he doesn't look to finish the run. No, sometimes he's trying to finish the run in the end zone.
Yeah.
Like
How
there's
many
I think people are
can
trying to
jog
break this
95
down.
yards?
Like people are trying to break this sport down like it's not real football we're playing. Like we're not out here really trying to win. We're not out here trying to make highlights. We're out here trying to win national championships. This isn't.
I mean, you can
This
see
isn't
that
for
by
funsies.
corners making, business decisions. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all seen it.
We've seen
we
it,
saw
yeah.
a major business decision not too long ago.
So-
He ran away.
Golly.
That's
Which
different.
just
It happens.
irked your nerves to the core.
But I just think you should eat that truck stick. I don't know.
Right?
I've been trucked before, so you know what I mean? Like, you just know it's coming. And it
Brush
sucks.
yourself off and get ready for another
Get
one.
up,
Rub some dirt on it.
Yep.
Hey, get up, give him a high
So-
five. You know what I mean? And keep it pushing.
It's
So
liable
before-
to happen to anyone.
But, man,
Right?
because
You know
it
what
could
I
be
mean?
anything. You could be off balance, not expect, man. If you're scared to get cracked, man, stay at home.
That's how you
Like,
get
because
hurt.
people end up, that's how you get hurt, man.
Right.
Powder Puff plays on
So-
Saturday, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Just asking.
Hey, so Drew, before we let you go and get on out of here, because we know you have other things to attend to, is there any last words, last things, parting shots you want to give in prep for or from last weekend or next coming up?
Oh no, not really. Other than we stand behind KC Cox versus Matt Ryan.
Oh, hell. Everybody's hearing about
Oh,
that,
boy.
huh?
Gang, gang.
Vegas. We
Don't
behind
say
the
Vegas
mans.
don't have my back.
We behind the man. We're gonna get him work. We're gonna start working him out, getting him ready fast. We got something coming for you.
Man, and somebody was asking me about push-ups. I'm like, dude, I can't even freaking do one right now.
Drew, one more question, man. Who do you think makes it out of the East?
Patterson, you.
Ooh, spicy.
Now, there's a shot that's fired.
There's shot fired.
I think
yeah.
Patterson, you. I think only because in the trenches, they're just.
I was gonna. I wanted.
They're
If we
nasty.
had more time, I wanted to. I want to see how Vegas is gonna address that. If they make it out, how they're gonna address that big man pulling.
Number 76.
That big man pulling.
Boy.
Because that honestly, like that could. That if we don't scheme for that correctly and adjust our rosters properly for that, that could make some stuff messed
Well,
up. Sorry,
you
Drew.
seen him just washing Verardi.
Oh,
Washing Verardi. And Verardi, nice.
Yes. But anyway,
So,
my bad,
well,
Drew.
Drew, thank you very much for coming on the
Appreciate it.
show and
Yes,
giving us
thank
the
you.
insight
Appreciate
of
y'all.
Sick With It from this past weekend and going into the game with the Insomniacs. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and speak with you, but we know you got other things you need to get done, so we're going to go ahead and let you get out of here.
One of the most talented men in the A7 NFL. He does
Absolutely.
everything.
I appreciate
Man, these
y'all.
posters are crazy.
And as he exits, we are now going to bring in another very special guest at this time, and things will get spicy, I guarantee, from here. It
This
is
finna get
Mr.
good.
Devantae Carter of
free
the
Tay.
Insomniacs.
Hashtag free Tay.
He's going to come on in here and get set down and get settled in, and we're going to discuss this last weekend, the Insomniac game a little bit with him, and
wildness.
the game going into
Wildness.
Sick
First
With
off,
It
I
and
just
what
want to
theirs
say I
are.
love the cap. That's all I got to say. I love the ball
Oh,
cap.
absolutely love the ball cap.
Man, he's always
sporting
fresh, man.
something, man.
Always. Gotta be.
So thank you for joining us, Devantae. How are you doing?
I'm blessed. How are
Blessed, you blessed.
You're doing really good, man. Doing
How's
really
the
good.
knees from that fall?
Oh, hey, my knees are fine, Brody. My knees are fine.
They went through a cheese grater. It
Yes,
looked
they
like
did.
that's crazy.
Stop it.
Hey, I fell down. I fell down twice. Matt tried to say I DNF'd. I didn't DNF. I got back up and finished.
Man.
Don't do me like that.
Really?
Yeah,
A DNF is not getting up and
right.
finishing.
Hey,
I
you
got
did
up and
get
finished.
up and deer trot to the end zone. Shout out
The
to
second
Donnell.
fall, I definitely had to because that knee was
Oh man,
screwed
that
up.
was a rough one. Any hoozles, Mr. Tay,
Yes.
man.
So we
There
wanna-
is so much going on right now. So there's
We're going to hold off on getting into the spicy until we get our other guests that we're going to have on the line. But we do want to
guests.
talk about this.
Anyway, you
This-
a human highlight reel, sir.
I
Yes,
tried
you
it.
are.
You know, I was born this way.
Man, it looks like
this
you
way.
worked for a bunch of it too, though.
Yeah, you know, I was born like this.
Yeah, I heard.
Hard work pays off, right?
You know, sometimes.
What did Booby Miles say? This is God given.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question. How do you define your running style? What style would you say it is?
I would say Mark Ingram.
Mm.
That's
Awesome.
very
That's
apt.
Yeah.
That's a very
Very
good.
good.
Damn.
That's a very good.
Very good comparison,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you do have that shoulder square running style, but once you get into the open, that's one thing that is surprising about you. You're fast.
Yeah.
You're fast. Like you're
Yeah, he
not
does. He's got
just you're
speed.
not just a bowling ball.
Do
No.
people be surprised of how fast you are and how much you have a burst when you do get into the open field?
Yeah, but I still haven't turned it up. It's been too easy this year.
Like I had to
Oh, wow.
stop.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to stop calling you a fire plug because you move too
Oh,
fast.
wow.
Like I said it the first couple of times that you got in the open field, and I had to quit that.
I don't know exactly who coined the term human bowling ball, but since I do the broadcast, I want to say I'm the one that gave you that nickname.
He probably been called that since Pop Warner.
Since Bob Warner.
Yeah,
Yep.
figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I figured.
But so
It fits you when I saw you run the first time and you got up that middle and you busted loose and then turned on the speed. I was like, this is a human bowling ball. He just bowled through that defensive line like they were bowling pins.
how do you
7-10 split.
Yeah,
as a running
7-10
back-
split them.
as a running back, how do you feel about the rule set of not just A7, but specifically of the Vegas like calling style? Like and do you like this compared to like padded football? Like are you happy with this style of play outside of all the politics and all that? We'll get into that later, because you seem the one thing the Insomniacs are always doing is having fun. And so I want to know, like, does that continue even though like once you played, like, has it been more fun? Like, how do you feel about this? Like, what made you fall in love with A7?
I mean, I don't love it.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. It's cool, but it's not better than padded football. But we
Okay.
are here to have fun. That's why I play this. Just to
Heard.
have fun. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Yeah, but it's cool. Padded football is always the best.
Understood.
Understood.
Do you feel like there's less, like, especially with your running style? Do you think it hinders you a little bit not being able to use your head, but do you also feel like it's saving you from some contact to get some looks later down the line to play more padded football?
It's saving the defender, honestly. I wouldn't want to be
Well,
I like
don't
that.
doubt that.
I don't doubt that either.
But
No, but the
okay.
way he runs, I don't know. That's
One of the
but
few.
I'm sitting here looking in his eyes as he said it, and he meant every fucking word.
People
He
say
meant every fucking word of that. And I dig
people
that.
say RTC looks for contact. No, this man
he
back
looks-
here behind me looks for contact.
He will make a cut just to run you over.
Yes, he will.
He makes speed bumps out of people. That's his.
That's why I
his
said he
shit.
will look for contact. He actually does.
And then turns on the afterburners after that and finds the end zone.
Look, there's a play that sticks in my mind, and I can't call every ounce of it, but I remember him coming around the corner on a sweep, and the cornerback thought, okay, let me just go at his legs. Yeah, that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. Stiff arm, down to the ground. Didn't even have to run, didn't even have to jump over him, just stiff armed him down to the ground. Next guy bounced off of him, and then he took it through the middle, and I'm like, well, let's see if he's got some speed. Gone. I'm like, yeah, well. Yeah,
Empty.
That's what happens.
Do you prefer straight down the middle run, or you want to get a toss to the outside, get a little momentum going?
It all depends who's in the middle. If it's like Justin, I'm coming at him.
I can't wait for this game. I can't wait.
So what is your personal favorite run play?
My personal favorite?
Yeah.
Anyone.
Oh,
Just give me the ball.
Okay.
Just give me the ball.
Just
he
give me the
said.
ball. Got it.
Well, I guess that's the
Devantae
answer.
The ball. Got it.
So, I mean, obviously, you're really looking forward to this game. If you were to play, you're really looking forward to this. Who from the East Coast do you feel like would be the most fun game for you to play? Because I know you like the contact, so you're going to pick who you think is the best defense. Who do you think is the best defense out there, and how do you think the Insomniacs line up with them?
Honestly, fuck the East. I don't follow them.
Everybody.
Fuck.
Oh, boy.
They can't fuck with us.
No.
So what's that?
And coming from my standpoint, I love that.
Oh, I do.
I
yes.
got tired of hearing about the East and all their bullshit.
Well, let's remember the whole reason we started this podcast to begin with me, Derek, and Chris was because the East wasn't giving us our props and wasn't talking enough about us. And it was all East this, East this, East this, and nothing about Vegas. And we said, no, fuck that. We need Vegas to get on the map. And now Vegas is almost pretty much the map. So,
well, look,
we have to I mean, I'm Vegas versus everybody, and I'm all for all the hooting and hollering and rah rah stuff. But we got to win a natty before we can say this is the map.
Facts.
But before we can even,
but look at the way this league is starting to move.
I understand.
I'm just
no,
saying.
I get that.
We're
and
the map in that.
pro
in that.
Vegas. I can't. I am
That's why I say we're
reserving
the map.
all. I'm reserving all of now that I'm looking at playing football. I'm reserving all of that, like we're the best until we go out there and beat them.
But
I said until.
Well, I didn't say we were the
think it's
best. I
gonna
just said we're the map
But
because right now we
technically
have.
speaking- But
But I just
technically
think
speaking, from a technicality, technically, there will be a new champion because the defending champion just did get eliminated.
Absolutely.
So there will be a new champion. So right now, it's really the teams that are remaining. It's the fight to get to Bullhead.
And can I just point something out? We ain't going out there to play them. They're coming out here to play us.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we get that straight.
They got to
If
come into
we
our
win
backyard.
and we're in the championship game.
Yeah.
They're coming out here.
I mean,
So
it's a solid
let's make
point.
that a point.
Yeah. No,
And
I
we,
keep
we
thinking
have
it's
nice
out there,
facilities
you know?
around here to be able to do
I
that.
get
That's
it.
why I say we're the map because there's things that we have out here. That's why they
I
decided
get
to
it,
come
and
out
I
here.
can't wait until we win it. But I'm gonna reserve all that until then. But I just think that you know, looking at the East Coast, because I think you know that's where Vegas is headed at the championship game. Looking at the Watchmen, looking at Florida, looking at these teams, like they do have good teams. Like and they have crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, they do.
These
They
athletes
do.
are crazy. They have one of the best linebackers in the league out in Florida. That man,
The
Henderson,
Nightcrawlers?
Nightcrawlers, yeah, Henderson,
Yes.
monster. But
know
I
what?
just
Nobody's
I
gonna
can't
deny
wait to
that.
see these games. I
Right.
don't think it's going to be a wash like I keep hearing. Like it's not going to happen.
Well, no. I
Nobody's
think
calling a
the
wash.
championship game is going to come down to
One or two
a
plays.
matter of seconds and who can get across that goal line with the clocks on zeros
Can I
so
just-
the other team doesn't have a chance on a 3-on-1.
Can I just say it this way? I think that the championship game is going to come down to what it was in the fall.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of back and forth,
Yeah.
brawl, blow for blow, 3-point.
Well, it's going to come down. What it's going to come down to is just like that. I think it's going to come down to the 3-on-1s,
Right.
and I think it's going to come down to who is playing at their best for extra points because I think that it's going to be a close game.
Could it be last possession wins it?
It could be.
That's why I said,
so
run it into the end zone with zeros on the clock so that the other team doesn't have the chance at the 3-on-1. That's the only way you beat somebody in the championship, I feel.
So I just want to ask Tay,
like the U beat BIC this past weekend.
where do you
The
think,
second time.
Yeah.
like, okay, you play for the Insomniacs. Where do you think the Insomniacs have the complete and overall edge heading into a national championship game?
I mean, we got the best 1-2 punch, no pun intended, at each position.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah, well.
That's the funniest shit I done heard.
But he's so serious, though.
Yeah, he's
Like
not
you said, no
lying.
pun intended.
No pun intended.
But I will agree with that. I mean, look, after watching some of the play, I know you say you don't follow the East, so I get that. But after watching some of the games this past weekend, some of the teams had the weekend prior off.
Right.
So I don't know that we saw their best football because we're
absolutely not.
looking at some of these games and how close some of these games were. I was really surprised. I really thought that Watchmen were just gonna work the animals, and they didn't.
No.
They barely won by 8.
Yeah. So I mean, when I start to look at these things and I start to look at what we have in the trenches compared to what they have in the trenches, it lines up pretty well. Especially when you're talking the Insomniacs and you're talking Sickwit. I mean, both of them line up in the trenches pretty well. Now, when I look at offensive line, I've got to give the nod to Insomniacs.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
that's not saying Sickwit is they're bums, because they're not.
Oh,
not even
absolutely not.
close.
No, the
But,
Insomniacs just have the most aggressive offense and like dominant offensive lineman in A7.
Exactly.
Like bar
So-
none, there's no question
And
about
these
it.
guys Mac wants to run you into the ground.
Yeah. He wants
He's
pancake.
exactly. He's looking for
pancaking
pancakes
you
and he's
50
looking for
yards
syrup
downfield.
afterwards. So you better be ready.
But the one thing the Insomniacs have had all year, it's been balance. It's not, they're just not pass. They balance the run and the pass, which is,
Or they could
Who
beat
do
you
you
with
guys-
the
who
run
was it-
or
who
the
was it
What
pass.
do
this
you
past
think
weekend?
you guys are better at?
Are we
Running, yeah. What do you think you guys are better at? Running the ball or throwing the ball?
playing Uno on the sidelines?
drop the mic on that.
Who was it this past weekend, though, that we literally saw Mac kick, like, literally he just blocked him like 60 yards downfield into the end zone.
Pick a number.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I mean, we've seen him do it week after week.
Pick somebody.
That's what he looks for, though. He looks
He's
to
been
drive
making
you
people
down
break
into the end
dance.
zone, and
But I feel like we've been robbed of a whole bunch of watching Tay run people over.
yeah, we have been. I
Yeah,
feel
I
that.
Especially
I feel that.
this weekend, man. Can we?
No.
Do we have?
We-
What is going on, man? Because we got Tay sitting here, and me and him
We're-
are chomping
yeah.
at the bit.
Yeah,
we
no,
don't want to
no,
talk.
we're-
I'm trying to.
we've
I'm
got-
trying to fill some
Get it spicy.
some void, but I want this spicy fast.
Let's get it
Well,
spicy.
our two guests that we want this
They don't
spicy
wanna-
for, they're at 6:30. They should be coming in. They were told
You got
they
17
said
minutes.
6:30.
Chill.
They could
Chill.
come in and
Look,
join.
man, this is
Hopefully
all
things go
anybody
right
wants
and
to
they're
talk
able
about.
to. Yes, this is what I wanted. This is why I wanted Tay here at 6 o'clock and them here at 6 o'clock. So
then
let's
can
talk
we,
about it.
Okay,
But
so
let's-
can we get some background story on it before? We
Yeah,
get
I mean,
into
we
it?
could- we
You know what
could-
I mean?
I mean,
because
I
there's
did
a whole
wanna-
bunch of the story
I
that
did-
nobody's heard.
Well, I did want to ask him.
There's
like,
absolutely no. Okay, so
I did want to ask him because me and Chris were kind of involved in this from the beginning, from the jump, on how this was supposed to kind of play out. And I
Well,
think
but
I think we can say that because people know we're board members, and that's
okay,
we were
but-
in that discussion. So
what I'm trying to-
I wanted to ask Tay, and this is something I did want to ask him, and I think I can ask him this without them here. It was under everybody's impression that you were given the opportunity to come back and play after the regular season was over. If you paid a fine, you would be reinstated if you paid that fine by X date. Now, from my standpoint, from the broadcast and from the board even standpoint, from when we discussed this, it was our understanding that that fine was paid and that reinstatement was made official.
Yeah.
Is that or is that not the case?
Yes, we paid the fine. I did my time.
Okay, so also, can we back up and get like? And I know, I don't care who wants to hear what or who doesn't want to hear what. We just gonna get this out here in the open right now.
Of course, it's mouth.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to get it from you
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I've said it to you in messages, and we've had conversations. I was very critical of you when it first happened.
Oh, yeah.
On
Everybody
air,
was.
in front of everybody, I
Everybody
said a lot.
was.
But you reached out to me as a man after the game with a serious conversation and proof, and had me go back and watch film and look at some stuff. And I'm not going to take any words out of the horse's mouth because he's here.
Right, no,
I
no,
would
let's
like
get
to
it
get
from
a
his mouth.
story
Yeah, no.
from the beginning before we bring anybody else
Yeah,
in.
no,
I want
no.
to hear your side from you
Of what caused that incident?
what caused this. And from my recollection, and Flea is a team member of mine.
Right.
Was.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think he's a good, you know what I mean?
And this
I
is
didn't
why it's
have no
good for you to
problems with
ask
him.
the
You know what I
question.
mean?
Yes.
So this all started back at the fall brawl.
Right.
This
Absolutely.
isn't something that just happened. That just happened right now.
Right.
So with that being said, Mr. Tay,
Yeah, it happened in fall brawl. Like Chris was saying, that was the corner I put in the dirt, and he's been mad since then. I mean, I would hate me too, but
but also it wasn't just
I'm gonna
that.
get you a
though.
jersey
Like,
and say
just
he
like-
you
hate
had
me.
me go back and look at film.
right.
And when you asked me to go back and look at film, I saw the antagonizing the entire game. I even said it during the broadcast. He went after Mac. He went after him, like chased Mac down and like was really trying to get Mac to fight him. And Mac put his hands up and walked away and started laughing.
Right.
And then he kept going. And you know what I mean? Like maybe at some point, if he decides to come back, he can jump on here and tell his side of the story for whatever he might want to say.
He's irrelevant.
But you know what I mean? Like, so, and then in the play, you can see a push and a punch to the back of the head. And then Tay gets up, turns around, and he said some stuff. He said words that in my life and in how I grew up, you better be ready to put your hands up. You're not gonna punch somebody in the back of the head, turn around and tell them, bitch ass dude, like, do something about it. And not even put your hands up. That's not a sneak. You can't punch somebody, tell them to do something about it, call them a bitch, and not put your hands up. That's not a sneak.
It's an imitation.
And you know what I mean? Like I'm a little different. I've been to prison twice. Like, so the second you say that B word, that's a fight, and you got to be ready for that as a man. And people don't agree with me, but I'm probably a toxic masculine man.
I'm not
It is what it
gonna. I'm not
is.
gonna argue that with you at all. No, those
You know
are
what I mean?
words that-
Now, is it right? Tay, no, you fucked up.
I fucked up.
Yeah.
But
It was a slap.
But I don't think you really hit him that hard.
I was watching Creed the night before. That's why.
Like
2 or 3.
you know what I mean?
watching
And
two or
like
three.
you kind of stalled him out, but
two.
regardless of all of that, like so that's I feel like not enough people actually are taking the time to go back and put this into context. And you know what I mean? Like me, especially being super critical of you at first, but also you being a man enough to come to me like, look, man, like I have no problems with you. Can you please just look at this? And I go back and look at it, and it looks a whole bunch of different. And what's crazy is the Insomniacs have been dominant this entire time, unfortunately, without you. Which honestly, it's a decent. It's not a bad punishment that was set up.
No.
Now I was surprised. You know what I mean? And I felt like it was a little bit of a loophole to see you coming back for the playoffs because they did say you were suspended for the season.
Well, that was a season.
That was
The season was over. It is now
Yep.
post-season. That is what it's called, the post-season. So
Yeah.
legal loophole, you know what I mean? You lawyered some stuff up, and guess what? Now you got a loophole, you're in.
Well, I was quite
and then
shocked.
somebody started crying about it online.
Tyler's
And
looking.
you know what I mean? And you know what? And I for whatever it is, man, he does give the league a bunch of publicity, and I'm going to leave it at that. But the thing he chose to do was weird. This one decision, I've been following him ever since then, and he does, like, it's just he picks certain things, and this was just the one thing he picked that was weird. And it's a weird thing to complain about, especially seeing as how your team came out here and started threatening violence and guns and gangbanging and all that kind of stuff. And you're the team that was coming out here scared to play you. They got washed anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bunch of crying. And then, you know what I mean? Like, to have an entire like already, like to have that judgment have been served, like that sentence be served. And then to have come back and be like, nah, you can't do that's double jeopardy. You can't do that in life.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So I don't know what the answer is going to be, but I'm really
So
I should have waited like 4 more minutes before I got that. But I'm pissed off about it. No, because I'm mad about it because you know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. Like, I understand. You can't give in to what one person is saying. And really, it was only one person complaining about it.
One.
right.
Can we?
Granted, it was a person
Well,
with
and
a
that's
voice.
what I was
but
just
it was
getting
one
ready to
person.
ask. I was just getting ready to
ahead.
ask was, so you suited up last weekend, Tay, and started and played a possession or two, I think,
No, I don't
before
think
you were
did.
finally told you couldn't play, or at least you were suited on the sideline. I think you had played at least a play or two before it was said, "Hey,
I don't know. Tay, did you
can't-
play? I didn't think you did.
No, I went out for a run and then
Okay, yep.
Will
Okay,
stopped the play.
oh, okay." I
So-
knew I saw you go out on the field, but so what was that conversation? What did he come to you and say? Did he say, no, you weren't reinstated? You shouldn't have
He
played
didn't come to
anyway?
me, really, he went to James, and James came to me.
Okay, so what was that? What was that discussion of? Like, why? Did he say that you
That
weren't
seems a
ever
little
supposed to be reinstated, or
No,
what was
he
that?
He said somebody named Ryan told my coach told Derek that I was out, and Derek didn't relay the message to my coach. My coach didn't relay it to me, but Will seen me in the parking lot, said hello, didn't say anything about me being resuspended. Man, so it's a bunch of miscommunication.
Right.
Can we-
And then that's the way I took it. Was
Can we look at
miscommunication.
something though? I want to look at
Yeah.
something a whole different way.
Yeah.
And I know everybody got feelings in this, and duly, I think that what went on was not what should have went on in my eyes. If you have made a decision, the decision's made. You stand behind your decision, whether you like it or not. A decision was made by somebody higher up, right? So they told you, Tay, that you could come back and play. Now, you know my feelings about this. I already talked to you on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't feel it's right, and they could say whatever they want to me.
Right.
I think it's 1,000% wrong, because you did exactly what was asked of you. You did everything that they said. But what I'm going to break this down to be is simply this: a man's word's a man's word. Period.
Your word is your
And
bond.
that's-
And if you are going to do things above board and you want others to follow, then you damn well better stand behind them.
Right.
I stand behind my decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent. And people could come to me and tell me, hey, Chris, you're wrong. And you know what? I got broad shoulders. I'll say, yeah, you're right. I am wrong. And that's my bad. But in this situation,
No.
if the offer was made, offer was taken, the offer's done.
Well,
period.
And that's why I said, me and you were there in the beginning, and that was the offer. That was literally like we went through a 30, 45-minute, hour-long conversation about how we were going to approach this, if there was even going to be any type of situation like that even come about. And then that situation came about, and everybody went, hey, that sounds perfect. It sounds like a perfect way to handle this situation, with as many people that came forward on Tay's behalf and said, hey, it literally, Tay made a bad decision that day, but that's not who Tay is outside of this field. We've never seen him act like that.
But
Why one mistake?
I also want to
Do
go a
him
little,
in for life.
I also want to go a little
And then now
deeper.
they're going back on it.
I
So
want to
why?
go a little deeper on something, because I think that it's, call me old school, call me what you want. I am old school, and I've always been, and I always will be. But the fact of the matter is, when things like this happen, and, everyone who's listening, everybody who's sitting in this room, you could agree or disagree with me. I really don't care. The fact of the matter is, all this bullshit comes down to the fact of we're playing a man's game.
Right.
Step up and be a friggin' man. I'm tired of all these little boys coming into this league, starting shit because they're getting their ass whooped. Step up and be a damn man. Quit being these little fucking kids. Period. I'm tired of it.
Right.
And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because
Right.
I see the men that come in and play this game. I see the men that are willing to step up and show what they're made of. Tay, dude, from me to you, man to man, after seeing what I saw and what went on, I don't blame you for what you did.
No.
Did you make a mistake on the field? Yeah, you did. Okay, so be it. You paid the price. I don't see why you're not playing in the playoffs, period.
Right.
And I'm going to be upfront and honest about that shit, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this league that I don't agree with.
Right.
And one of the biggest things that I don't agree with is having these kids that come in and think that they can play a game, and all they do is bitch and complain about everything, instead of going out there, suiting up, and playing between the lines.
Right.
Get your head right, get it out of your ass, and play the fucking game.
And in the broadcast booth, like after I saw that Tay had been removed, I literally at one point I removed my headset and I went and I was like, what is this?
Oh, we had no idea what was going on.
We didn't understand what was going on because we were all under the impression he had been reinstated. And then at the end, when I finally got the confirmation that supposedly he wasn't, and I'm going to say supposedly because supposedly he wasn't supposed to be reinstated to begin with.
But
Like, okay, well then, if that's the case, he paid his fine, you reinstated him. Now, if you're going to go back on that, give the man his fucking money back.
well, I mean, and correct me if
And I
I'm
said
wrong.
that in the booth.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We're supposed to be a professional sports organization, right? We are.
Yep.
Right? So when we're talking about the NFL, when we're talking about them, when they get suspended for the rest of the season, how does that work? Now, will they stipulate and playoffs, or does
Yes.
the end of the season automatically? Because
No,
obviously the
they stipulate.
Insomniacs were making it to the playoffs. They knew the Insomniacs were going to make it to the playoffs, or that there was a strong chance of it. If they wanted you to sit out of the playoffs, they could have said, sit out the first round. Regular season and the first round.
Or it could have even been said regular season and playoffs. Because in the NFL, when they suspend a player, they say you're suspended for the regular season,
And
but
the
you're
playoffs.
eligible to come back in the playoffs, or and
That
the
should have been
playoffs.
stipulated, and
So
that's
that
an
was a
oversight.
stip.
So you know what happens in business when you have an oversight, or like in a contract, you have to just stick
You
with
eat
it.
it.
You
Yeah.
have to eat that. It's like if you bid a job for $100 and it
Exactly.
takes you 4 days, that's on you,
That's,
Pimpin.
yeah, you bid a
That's
job
on
for
you.
$1,000. It took you $3,000 to do it. That ain't the client's problem.
No, and you better get it done.
Yeah, you get
But
it
it's-
done.
Or
and-
you're bad business.
It's
Now,
about being right.
And I've been doing a lot of putting my name on this league, and a lot of trying to push this league forward, and a lot of things to try and establish something out here in Vegas. And I don't want to attach my name to bad business, because that's one of the first things you learn in the penitentiary is you don't do bad business. And if somebody does do bad business, you don't deal with them. So we
Take
need
a
to get to
step
the
back.
bottom of this to figure out if we're out here risking our lives and our livelihoods, because we're out here risking injury. Yes, we are getting a shot at some big money and some big things, and this league is heading in a good direction. But at the same time, like, do y'all have our back? Like we give y'all our likeness and our images and all that stuff to make promo videos and all that, but y'all are going back on your word when it comes to us? That make it make sense. The math ain't mathing.
Does that feel like
hold on.
does
My bad.
that feel like a low blow from a player's perspective?
Absolutely, it should.
Yes.
And I'm a
Anybody who's
broadcaster
been
and
a-
all that.
anybody
And
who's
it's
been
not
a player
me.
will tell you,
It's
yes,
not me.
that's
And
a
Tay
low
wasn't
blow.
even my teammate at the time, and the dude he rocked was one of my teammates.
Okay,
And I
do-
still feel the same way. But Tay has something to say. I'm sorry, brother.
But yeah, he Will came up with the proposition. Like I asked on the call, is it just the season, or is it the playoffs as well? He said, "Oh, just the season. Come back in the playoffs."
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah.
So what is the conversation about now?
Basically, the conversation is this higher up told Will, your decision doesn't matter. I said he's out.
And let's not get it twisted. The higher up, I believe, was on that call with us when that
No, he
stipulation was
wasn't.
laid.
I can't
believe.
honestly
wasn't.
say that he was.
He wasn't.
He
I
would-
don't think he was.
He may.
We're
He,
gonna
okay.
establish
He may,
that here in a second when he jumps on.
Well, okay. He may not have been on the call, but by my understanding, that stipulation came from him,
it doesn't even
and
matter.
that's why Will.
When you're the
As-
head of a company
He was just the messenger,
and you
in that.
have subordinates making decisions for you, you can't turn around and be like, "Oh, well, I don't agree with
no,
that."
that's what I'm saying. By my understanding, that decision came from him anyway, and then Will just relayed that message
But
because he
honestly,
wasn't
it
in
doesn't-
that call.
It doesn't even. It
That's,
really
so
it
it
doesn't
came
matter
from him, by
who.
my understanding.
Right, but
So
but
that
for
make-
him to
that's
say
what
that
makes it
doesn't-
worse.
Yes, it does. 1,000%.
Bottom line for this is, I'd much rather hear this
Right.
whole thing played out and see where we're going with it, because in reality, and Tay, I got to say it, nothing was said to me. I'm on the field. I'm the one that looks at rosters. I'm the one that tells when guys are out, whether they're injured or whether they're suspended or whatever. And nobody said a damn word to me.
No,
So-
that's your job when you're checking people in, because you're trying to
Exactly.
see if people are registered or not, to see if their paperwork is good.
Right. So
how
as
many
far as I'm
oversights
concerned,
does there have to be before somebody just says, "Oh no, this is where the mess up is"?
well, it's not even about that, because if it comes down from the league might have
who
last
is the
say.
league?
Hold on. The league might have last say in it, but the fact of the matter is there's still that time when it has to be explained. And I think this is one of those times.
Right, but there's also a time to set a precedence. And this is a new league.
Precedence was set.
Well, the precedence was set with the...
And then they turned around and took the precedence away.
Right, no, well, right. So that would be the new precedence that it doesn't matter what deals they make. At this point, looking a whole lot like the U.S. government with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And
it looks a whole lot like it.
Let me show you something. Turn it around.
Give me just a minute. We do have championship weekend coming up. Bullhead City, July 21st through 23rd. EA Sports Tournament. Pro Combine. AIFA game.
Don't forget the pre-combine on June 25th.
Yeah, pre-combine June 25th. But then to cap off championship weekend, the A7FL Championship, Bullhead City, Arizona. Come join us in the Valley Sun. And I believe that now we do have, via Skype, our two guests. No, we do not. Not yet. Okay. I thought we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, 3 minutes till we get them. So.
It's good to know.
Yeah. And what I meant by that, making that comparison. No, what I meant by making that comparison was just that if they're gonna go back on their word one time,
right,
they're gonna continue to do it. You know what I mean?
That's the assumption.
At that point, that
one would think.
You know what I mean? Like at that point, no, it's not a one would think. It's a cool little TikTok where a chick was like, if you let that motherfucker shenan once, you better be damn sure they're gonna shenan again. So like, if you let them do it one time, they're gonna do it again because
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
So I don't know. This is their chance to address it, and it's gonna say a lot. And what sucks.
Well, hold
is
on. There's a way around this that we have not brought up, and I'm not talking to. I apologize. I'm not just talking about you, but anything in the future, and that is to make it real simple and real easy. You want to do this? No problem. Put it in writing. Send it to me.
That's a general rule of business anyway.
Yep. Put it in writing. And when I say put it in writing, not this is what we're going to go with. No, I want everything that was talked about and everything that was said in writing and sent over, period. Because you're right. When it comes to business, that's the number one rule. You can have a handshake on a deal, but the deal's not closed until it's in writing and signed. So I think that's what, and the thing about it is whenever you have a situation like in the NFL, when they tell somebody they're suspended, it's not just told. They get a letter saying they're suspended and tells the time that they're suspended for. Right. So I think that is exactly what needs to be done. We don't need to have, hold on for a second. We don't need to have these situations replayed. And like you just said about the whole thing about, trusting. Well, okay, if the situation can't be trusted, one of the easiest ways to make the situation trusted is by putting it in writing. Because now you're standing behind what you're talking about. You talked about bids. When somebody does a bid in this state, hell, in any state, you're on the hook for that bid. Once that bid is accepted and those contracts are sent out, they're sent out for a reason. This should be no different. And that's why the NFL doesn't just say, hey, by the way, you're suspended for PEDs. They tell you exactly why you're suspended and for how long, and they put it in writing. So easy. Put it in writing. We'll talk about it. I want a signature, and you could have mine. And I want a copy of the suspension. I want a copy of me coming back, period.
And one more thing is there was money exchanged.
Yeah.
How is that not done deal? Where'd the money go?
Right.
What happened to it? Where is it?
That's why I said if he's not reinstated, then give that man his money back. I said that in the studio or in the booth on Sunday after we put the headsets up. Like, if he's not going to be allowed to play at all the rest of the playoffs, give him his money back.
Did he get his money back?
Did you get your money back, Tay?
How long did it take you to pay? What? Fast, right?
Same day.
And did you get your money back?
But it's going to take a minute to get your money back, though.
Of course.
I don't know. It seems fishy.
Has you getting your money back even been discussed yet? Can I ask that?
I mean, I don't really care. It's like I just wanted to play.
He wants to play.
Well, we know that. We know that. But if they're not going to let you play, then
I mean, I trust Derek. Derek hasn't did me wrong so far.
Right.
So
and that's the part that sucks. Is this isn't even on Derek?
Yeah. No, this isn't on Derek. So,
but
Derek has to sit here and shoulder this.
Yeah. Derek said he'll refund me. I believed him.
And all we ever tried to do is the right thing.
Yeah, that's what we do.
The thing about it is when we start talking about this and people talk about us as the league.
Actually, I do have the money back. We do have the money back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we look at things, well, you were supposed to get the money back anyway, weren't you?
Yeah, we got it back.
Yeah. So I mean, even if as long
yeah.
as you did what you said and what they had laid out for you, you were getting that money back come playoffs anyway.
Oh,
Right,
it was
yeah.
like a,
So-
I understand that.
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So like,
Yeah,
but
no, I
you
forgot
completed
that part,
every
yeah.
single step. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that part. That's
So the thing
I mean,
about
that's
it
a-
is,
It was a
That's a solid
refundable
deal.
$1,000. Yeah.
well, when we
at
sit
least
here and
one
talk
part of the
about it,
ownership actually fulfills on what they say.
well, I mean, we all try to fulfill on what we're doing, especially out here in Vegas. I mean, we try. It doesn't always work out the way we want it to, and we push as hard as we can. But there's sometimes that we get trumped by corporate. Period.
Right,
And-
but we also we deserve kind of an answer on that.
Yeah.
Like we deserve a response at least.
Well, I think so, and I think that an answer, answer to tell us exactly what went on and why, from their decision standpoint, I think that is an acceptable piece. I don't think that we should just want to find out why.
We are waiting for them. I think they are on now. We do have, I believe, Will Franklin and just one on right now.
Who we
Is
got?
that a Will Franklin that we have? No, that is Ryan DePaul that we have. Hello, Ryan. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Well, hold on.
Plug it in.
Oh, there you go. Think.
Something.
Maybe.
Got a little bit.
Maybe.
Still no sound boss.
Yep. Still no sound boss, but we getting his
I'm gonna try to get
technical
his sound corrected.
situated. But we do have him on and with
Awesome.
us, so we will give.
That's the
him-
answer, man, right?
Yeah, that's the answer, man. I
Well,
believe
while he's getting his things, he's
Oh,
back
there
on.
he is.
All right,
There he
here
is.
he is.
we can hear you now. Thank you for joining us, Ryan DePaul. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yes,
we got
can hear
you.
you fine now.
All right, cool. This is Will.
Oh, so we got Will. We can't hear Ryan.
We can't hear Ryan.
That's
Oh, we got
interesting.
Will.
We have Will via.
We can
Yeah,
hear
Ryan, we
Will.
still can't hear you.
We still can't hear
If you could hear us.
So we have Will via voice and Ryan via video. That's
Can you guys see me?
No, we can hear you, can't see you.
Take your finger off the camera, Will.
He's got to untape it.
so.
It's
Anyway,
time to fill, so that way
so
we
yeah,
can
we're
see if we could get these technical difficulties worked out.
Right.
I don't get it.
Y'all might want to
So-
feel. I might be.
So what was the feel,
Professionalism, man.
the
Come on.
general feeling of the Insomniacs OTT game? I think that game went as everybody thought it was going to. But I want a
OTT
general-
is who we thought they are. OTT is tough. You know what I mean? Like they stood in there and they fought and they battled, and that's a rough game. But they stood in there. They are who we thought they were. They're dogs. Insomniacs are who we thought they were too.
We're bigger dogs.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to. You know, you have to battle in this game, and sometimes the battle takes you over the edge, and sometimes it doesn't. And I thought that OTT in pretty much all the big games that they played in battled. So I mean,
They're definitely a
hats
team
off
with
to them.
heart.
Yeah.
Oh, they got some people coming too. I heard some things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard some things too on the sidelines, but you know what? That's why guys tell me stuff, because I keep my mouth shut.
Nah, I'm gonna just say I heard some things.
So this July, we're hitting Bullhead City, Arizona. Weekend-long flag tournament with 10 grand on the line in the esports tournament, playing all the classics. At our Pro Combine, you have a chance to tap in and compete. If you want to watch from the stands, we have an epic AIFA and its father versus son when Dame Dash, Capital City Cyclones, battles the Boogie Dash Las Vegas Kings, and we also have the main event, which is the A7FL Championship. All that plus a car show, food truck festivals, and more. Go to a7flnevada.com or a7fl.com now and get you and your family out to Bullhead City, January 21st through the 23rd.
Interesting. Friday through Sunday,
Yep.
huh?
That's a full-fledged weekend.
Yeah, it is.
Full on weekend.
That's,
All kinds of fun activities. So
yeah, make sure you drink a lot of water.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
hot.
Okay, we're
Okay,
going to try this again.
Well,
now we
there's-
have Will via video and hopefully sound, and maybe we've gotten Ryan now as well.
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
got
got
you, Will.
Will.
All right.
Try again, Ryan.
Still nothing on Ryan.
He just called me, said he was having trouble with the sound. I told him to play with the Skype settings.
Okay. But we do have at least one of the guys here that we wanted to ask some questions and get some clarification on this Devantae Carter situation and how it ended up going down and why it ended up going down the way it did with him not being able to play this past weekend.
You know, I can only really speak to the terms that were set when I was given the authority to set them. What decision came down from which higher up to null the deal? You know, that's a little bit above my pay grade, to be honest with you guys. You know, so I'm definitely interested to hear what Ryan has to say. I think it has. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with the video coming out. You know, when Derek brought it to me from a divisional standpoint, I'm like, man, this one here is tough, especially after I seen the video. I'm like, man, this one was going to be, you know, it's almost like Derek was, you know, looking for a little bit of leniency on this one. So as a league, as you guys having a new division, as you guys are bringing this up to us for the first time for your first national sort of appeal, you know, I brought it to who I normally bring my things to, which is Ryan DePaul, which I'm glad he's actually on the call. Well, actually, it looks like he left for a second.
No, he's on. He just can't.
Like
we can't
frozen.
hear him. Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, it looked like on my side, it looked like he just joined back. So maybe he's loading in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm always going to advocate for the players, right? That's one thing that I'm usually known for, is advocating for the players. You know, in all honesty, looking back on it, it should have just fell under our regular thrown punch suspension rule. Just looking back at it, with all it's creating right now. But I put forward what I was authorized to. I spoke with the higher ups that I normally would speak with in a situation like this. Check.
Hey,
There you are.
There's Ryan.
All right, where's I can't see myself anymore though. I had to download Skype. I don't have Skype on my computer, so I downloaded it, and now you can hear me.
Yep.
Hold on, let me see if I can get my video up. You guys can't see me?
No, we just see a bird in the background.
A bird.
Mm-hmm. Your background's a bird in the
Yeah, it's just your standard Skype.
in the pond.
Well, we got you. What we can do is we can hear you now.
Yes,
So
we can
that's
hear
the
you
big
now.
thing.
That's the big thing. Yeah.
If we're going to make a choice, hearing you is better than and not being mean. Hearing you is
I'll
better
try to
than
get my
just seeing
picture
you.
fixed. I mean, I came in on the tail end of what you guys were talking about, and you're comparing this to the NFL.
Oh, yeah, on Skype there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, go ahead, man.
You're comparing this to the NFL. We're not the NFL. This is totally different. One guy's actions on the field can ruin this league for everybody. So, like, when stuff like this happens, if I find out about it late, I see it late, like, I don't really have any compassion for someone that's going to go out and do something crazy on a field that's going to jeopardize this league for everybody that's out there and that's involved. And this league wasn't always what you see right now. It wasn't always fancy turf fields and being on TV. I started this shit 18 years ago in the bowels of Newark. We didn't have referees. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have uniforms. If guys wanted to fight, go under the bleachers. Do it somewhere where you're not going to jeopardize the game. So it's not the NFL where we own the stadium and we could fight and do whatever we want. It's just like, yeah, here's a $50,000 fine. Look what happened in Cincinnati. The guy that sucker punched a guy in Cincinnati and broke his face. The guy's a wanted fugitive now. They lost their field. So I don't understand why people come out here and advocate for something like this. Like, we should allow this to happen.
It's not
advocating.
It's not
allowed
advocating.
to happen. The punishment was passed down, and then it gets revoked in the middle of the game. The deal was done. He went through all the processes, and there's no context given to what happened before. It's not like he just ran up to the kid on the very first time the kid said something
Or
and
did
hit
something.
him. He was punched seconds before that. But you can't see it because of the angle. If you slow the video down, you can see it.
So you're saying this guy punched him first?
Yes.
In the back of the head, right as Devantae fell because of a push on the back and a punch to the back of the head. He was getting into it with other players earlier in the game.
This is the first time ever hearing this, by the way.
Okay, so how do you make a rule, like, as an official, as the head of the league? How do you, and this is coming from a player, how are we supposed to be like think that anything is run with any type of consistency?
Well, let me ask you a question. How's the guy punched the guy in the back of the head? He's still in the game. How's that even possible? Like, why wasn't he ejected?
It happened the same play.
It was the
happened
same
on the
play.
exact same play.
1-2.
So the guy punches him in the back of the head.
He falls.
Scores
he
a
gets
touchdown.
Up. No, he did not score.
So let me
Let me
intervene here really quickly, just so because what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to let Ryan get ambushed. I looked at that video.
Nobody's ambushing
and
anybody.
From my perspective, I couldn't see Devantae getting punched in the back of the head.
You ain't slowed down.
I tried to run. But at the same time, when it was sent to me, it wasn't sent with the context that I'm looking for a second punch. That this is what led to this. When I looked at the video myself, I didn't have the other player throwing a punch. I know that Devantae ended up on the ground. I think both players ended up on the ground from being in coverage.
No,
I'd have to look at it again. I don't remember seeing a punch being thrown.
Well, hold on for a second.
Neither
hold on,
one of you have
hold on
looked
for a
at
second.
it in
Hold on.
detail,
Hold on for
and
a
the
second.
decision was revoked. That's
But hold on
crazy.
for a second. I want to make something very clear because I think that everybody's getting off on the wrong foot on this before we get too deep into it. Nobody's ambushing anybody. We're just trying to figure out what precipitated the offer being made and then revoked for a player that followed.
So then
hold
let's
on,
just
Will.
not
Let
talk
me
about
finish.
the initial punch being thrown because in my opinion, there was no initial punch thrown other than Devantae's. There may have been some contact on the play, but I don't have the other player in slow motion throwing a punch. So if we're not going to talk about it, let's just throw that complete narrative out of the conversation.
You can't throw
You
it
can't
out
throw
of
it
the
out
conversation.
because it's a
About it
retaliation.
being revoked and about it being in.
But you said
So
that on the initial call. You said, I see him hitting you. You told me that. When we sent you the slow down video, you said, I see him hitting you. And I told you, I'm 220 pounds. If someone hit me, I'm
not going to cop to that. I'm not going to cop to that. I don't recall saying that.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not going to cop to that. I'm the one that advocated for you to play.
Exactly.
So I want that under clear understood. I advocated for you to play, but I'm not going to cop anything that I didn't see or I didn't say. I didn't see. I'm not sure. I understood that there was some history between you two. I did understand that from Derek.
Try to fight another guy.
Excuse me?
Did you see him earlier in the game rush and try to fight another man?
It was like so windy, man. I can't hear anything.
All right, listen, I'm going to turn my wind off, but no. Listen,
but you didn't do
before
any
I came to
research.
Vegas for the first time, I wasn't paying attention to Vegas like that. And no, another clip of another potential fight or anything that wasn't sent to me. The only thing that was sent to me was the last 10 seconds
A 3-second clip.
of 10 seconds of the fight, 10 seconds of that situation.
So, Ryan, what my stance on this thing is that I agree with you. We're not the NFL, and I understand that. Nobody said that we were. My thing is that the consistency needs to be there if we're going to call ourselves a professional league, which I truly believe we're trending in that direction. But I also believe that when situations like this come up, what we need to do as a league is, before we start handing down punishment, finding out exactly what happened all the way around. That's what we're trying to do here in Vegas when we have these situations. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, if you have all the information on the front side, and Will, I'm not throwing you under the bus or nothing. I get what you're saying. You didn't have some of this information. But I think that what needs to be done is all the information needs to be gathered before a decision is made. Now, my thing on this, and the only reason why I have a problem with it from the onset, is that a offer was made and the player followed that offer to the T, and then it was revoked on the back end. So what I'm saying is it's not a good look. And Ryan, I totally get what you're saying about not being the NFL, and we can't have one player ruin the league. But at the same time, we also can't have a player that has shown that he is willing to push people around and try to start fights, even playing in the league. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Not.
So
Absolutely
I mean,
not. This is the first time anyone's mentioned anything about this other guy.
But
doing
that's what I'm saying.
That's
Video
not
of
true,
it.
Will. I have a screenshot from the coach of the Insomniacs sending you the clips and you acknowledging
me?
it. I have
No,
the
Will.
screenshot.
No, to Will, right?
To Will.
To Will.
I have the screenshot. I'm looking at it.
There's a bunch of
Who sent me what?
James Borgeron is the one that sent you all the clips. So you had an informed decision to make, and it wasn't made. None of the information was passed along.
Well, and
Listen, none of the information that was passed along to me was
now.
that this other player had thrown a punch first, and that's what caused.
But you also just said
Devantae to
that you
react.
didn't see that he engaged with another player. You also just said that, correct? But I have evidence that says you had. So let's be 100 here, Will. You know I mess with you.
I'm keeping it 100. I'm
appreciate-
keeping it
but
absolutely
you're
100.
not,
The
though,
only
because
thing
you
that was
just
told to me to look at when it was
you
brought to me.
just- you
Listen,
literally
I
just
don't
got
care
on
what
here and
James
said.
sent me.
But you saw it. So if he sent it to you, you saw it. You can't say you didn't see it and you're keeping it 100. It doesn't work like that. Paperwork doesn't lie.
I never said I didn't see it. I never said I didn't see the fight. What was never was presented to me was that the Kryptonite player threw a punch, or else he was
literally just
when
said he
Derek
didn't
first
see it.
brought to me with. And listen,
Come on,
I don't
bro.
care what James sent me. Right, James can send me anything he wants to. Everything that I got information-wise to make a decision on was based on what Derek brought to me and what Derek said to me. And Derek never said we need to consider both of these players for suspension. We need to consider both of these players for fighting. I knew that the players had some history, but no one ever sent me a clip of the player from the Kryptonite ever fighting, ever throwing a punch. The only picture that was painted about him is that he was a nuisance. Right, but not that he had thrown any punches. So I was never asked to make a decision on the Kryptonite player as well, and I wasn't shown any clips of him throwing any punches.
Okay, so can we corroborate something real quick that Ryan told Derek that Carter was not reinstated and that Derek never relayed that message to James?
Yeah, I showed him the video when I saw the video. So
How many? Only one?
What's that?
Only one of the only the one.
I only
video?
have one video that guy from Inside the Lines or whatever. That's the only video I ever saw.
So a 3-second clip is what you saw.
Yeah.
But guess what? Doesn't matter. Listen, some of you guys here have played football, I gather, right? I know coaches have told you a million times the second
As
guy
a grown
gets
man,
caught,
would you
right?
let a man strike you and not
the
do
mentality.
nothing?
Listen, I get sometimes you got to fight. Do it in the bathroom. Do it under the bleachers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
as long as you don't
do it
get
in the
caught, it's
parking
okay to
lot.
throw a punch. That's what you're saying.
Here's my biggest thing. though.
No, because the first
I
guy,
didn't hear what
because
you
it
said.
was a weird camera angle. You can only see the first punch thrown in the middle of the play. You can only see it if you slow it down and zoom in. But I guarantee you, none of you guys tried to get to the bottom of it because nobody talked to Devantae to try and understand his side of it. You saw the punch, and the punch is bad. The suspension is good. Nobody's arguing what your suspension.
Hold on.
Nobody's arguing that.
I spoke with Devantae myself before any rulings came down. So the whole thing that Devantae wasn't spoken to, let's not create narratives that don't exist.
But you spoke to him and then just ignored everything he said by not looking any further into the evidence.
I listened. He didn't say anything about him punching him.
did you guys give these two guys this hard a time for fighting on the field and possibly
Yes,
ruining
we
your
did.
football league?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
You had
I did.
both of these guys.
I did.
Yes.
Yep.
The other guy that
1,000%.
supposedly threw this punch.
Yes.
You gave them this
1,000%
hard of
I
a
did.
time for possibly
I
ruining your
was on
football
Tay's
league.
helmet in the broadcast, in
Yes.
the messages, in person. I was on his helmet, and with Flea, you could see me walk down the sideline. I was just as hard on them. The suspension, we're not upset about, Brian. What
what
we're
is it?
upset about
Okay,
is the fact that
here's-
he was told he could play again. He jumped through the hoops, and then all of a sudden, as he steps onto the field, the person who told him he could play again if you jumped through the hoops came down and said, "Nope, you can't play."
Hey, no, well, and
That was a
this
mistake. It was a
okay,
mistake to
so
have been
the-
told that he could play.
So the whole
Okay, so
entire
then-
and I'm not going to go show
So the whole
screenshots,
entire-
but that message has been delivered.
So that whole
was a
entire,
mistake.
while we were on that call and we were figuring out how we were going to approach this punch being thrown and how Devantae was going to
Which
be
call?
handled,
doesn't
the
even know about the
disciplinary
call.
call that me and Chris and Will and Devantae and
Everybody
was on. I don't know if you were on that call. I don't
wasn't on the
remember.
call.
No, I don't.
People
I don't
say
know
you
who- I
weren't.
don't even
Okay,
know
and
who
that's
Chris
fine.
is.
But the thing was, it was relayed in that call that there were XYZ that needed to be done. One being the Insomniacs pay $1,000 fine. Two, that no Insomniac player get into an altercation, a fight, whatever, during the rest of the regular season. And if no Insomniacs player was to fight during the rest of the regular season, and the $1,000 fine was to be paid, that Devantae Carter would be reinstated
for the playoffs.
for the playoffs, and that if there was any type of interaction, any type of fight, brawl by any Insomniacs player before the season was over, that player and Devantae Carter would be done until 2024, and the $1,000 fine would not be returned.
Correct.
So he paid the $1,000 fine.
$1,000. You think the $1,000 can get a new field?
Well, nobody said that $1,000 was. That's not part of. That's not part of the. That was not part of it, though.
Hold on. Let me just.
I just want to finish what I'm saying real quick, though, because that wasn't.
What are you gonna do when you lose the part?
The part of the
Listen,
agreement
way too many
was,
of you guys talking at once, man.
So I'm trying to finish what I was saying. The part of the deal was, though, whether $1,000 pays for a field or not. That wasn't the discussion. The discussion was they pay $1,000. Nobody else gets into a fight. And Devantae can play in the playoffs. If anybody gets into an altercation, then that player and Devantae are done until 2024, and the $1,000 cannot be returned. And everybody said, yep, cool, that sounds like a good deal. That's how we're going to go about this. You have till X day to pay that fine. The fine was paid. The information was relayed that Devantae was reinstated for the playoffs. And then we get into the second playoff game, not the first. The second playoff game, the second week of playoffs. And then it comes down that Devantae is not reinstated. How is that overlooked week 1 of the playoffs and then all of a sudden made a deal in week 2?
Because somebody made a big deal?
Somebody cried about it.
Hold on. I wanted to just say, Ryan, I get what you're saying about does $1,000 buy another field, which no, it doesn't. But at the same time, it was the deal that was put on the table by A7FL National. So we were just following the rules that were laid out in front of us. And and Devantae accepted the rule that was laid out in front of him. It wasn't something that we put forward from the Nevada division. It's something that was brought to us
from the national level to say, hey, this is what we're offering you guys up. If you take the deal, here's the stipulations behind the deal. Nothing was ever said from our standpoint that I know of saying, hey, can we do this? We were a little surprised when the offer was made because we were always told, you throw a punch, you're gone for the season, period.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake to make that offer.
Okay, but
you can't go back on that now.
In business, when you make a mistake, do you have, like, if you have a representative that signs a contract for you, are you still liable for that contract?
Well, there's
or
no
does the customer eat that?
In business, if you make a mistake, you don't keep making the same mistake.
If money was exchanged, sir, if money was exchanged, sir, that's
from what you're describing, right?
No, it wasn't a security deposit. I'm sorry, I'm a man of my word. So if I tell somebody the deal is done, the deal is done.
So am I.
The way it was laid out, though,
the
point
deal
is
was undone by your league.
I have no dealings in any of this, and this is the first time you guys are talking to me. It was the first time I've seen the video.
How are you so blissfully unaware of goings on if you running the whole league?
Because there's 29 football teams. There's 10 football games every Sunday.
I watch film on every team every week. I watch film on teams every week.
You're cutting out. I couldn't hear what you said.
I watch film on teams every week. On all the teams.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Devantae, what are you holding up?
The agreement from our call. It was written.
Go ahead and read it, Devantae, please.
No, don't read it. No. Send it.
Don't read that out loud. I'm not going to
read it. Matt, is it possible? I'm sorry, I said Matt. Ryan, is it possible that Devantae could send that to you?
His mind's made up.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, well, hold on. No, what I'm saying is, look, the thing that we've got, and we don't have a whole lot of time left, but the reason why I'm looking at this a little bit differently than both sides is I get it of the situations, but at the same time, we have to start to take into consideration the stuff that we put out on the field and what we put forward to these players as divisional managers, as upper management, and all that. We cannot go back against what we're telling them because then the trust is broken. Now, Ryan, I get what you're saying, but if the league made this a point to make this offer to this young man, to go against it right now does not make sense in my eyes. Now, I get what you're saying with all of it about the punches and everything. Then guess what? The offer should have never been made. Now, whether you agree with the offer or not, what I want is to have Devantae send that offer to you so you could see what was written to this young man, because it's also not fair to him.
Exactly.
I think if you throw a punch in the league, I think like I can't. I mean, for you to say something's not fair, like I just sit here and think about all these guys that are out there trying to play in a structured environment and not possibly have a riot.
No, and I agree with you. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, if that's the case, then it should have never been made an offer. It should have never been on the table.
Listen, I'm not going to go send in screenshots, but I said that was a mistake.
Okay.
And you know what? Listen, you can continue to make you say, hey, you got to stand on something in business. You continue to make the same mistake over and over again? Hell no. If you could change something, make it right, do the right thing, why would you keep going down the wrong path? What sense does that make?
But you can't undo.
Why would
the
you
path
keep self-destructing for what? We lost the field in Cincinnati for the same shit.
Totally understandable.
Cincinnati.
I understand that, but the league was the agreement was put forward.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time, and I think we need to dig a little bit deeper into this. That's all I'm saying, and I will be more than happy to talk to both of you about it.
Yep. But gentlemen, we have ran out of time on the show. Thank you, Ryan DePaul. Thank you, Will Franklin,
Appreciate
for coming on. And thank you, Devantae Carter, for coming on. That's going to do it for us, guys. Until next time, we will see you on the other side of the ball.
Happy Father's Day, fathers. Love y'all.